They call this the most advanced era in human history. Apparently, there are medical breakthroughs everywhere. So why are millions of Americans more unhealthy and overweight than they've ever been? According to U.S. board-certified physician and expert nutritionist Dr. Amy Lee, one of the main reasons is 3 harmful foods that are being passed off as health foods all over the country. And wait till you hear this, because these foods can cause weight gain, clog your digestive tract, deplete your energy, and wreck your skin. They're banned in other countries. Yet shockingly, they're still legal in the US. The great news is Dr. Lee will explain how to stop and reverse this damage by simply learning which foods to avoid and how to spot them. And by doing so, you can experience easier weight loss, smooth digestion, and vibrant energy. To find out these 3 fake health foods, go to 3harmfulfoods.com/inspired. That's the number 3, 3harmfulfoods.com/inspired, or click on a link in the description down below.
Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers. It's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is Monday, July 15th, 2024. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. Welcome on X, on Rumble, and on YouTube, and welcome in the live chat. I see a lot of new names today, and I'll explain also why we see some of those new names. Nancy, Albaloo, MC, Cynthia, good to see you. I see the shaman from within. Mayor Laws, Mama, I see Raymond. I see some very familiar names too. Raymond, how's it going, brother? I see Mr. Underhill, Val. Welcome, 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 my friends. Thank you for being with us. So I quickly want to get current news events, at least when it comes to facts and details, out of the way. We are going to bring on retired Air Force General Blaine Hold. Our friend Blaine Hold is coming on tomorrow for the live stream, 11:30 live, and we're going to break down Saturday, the Trump situation, the shooting, everything that transpired. I want to say a few things in principle before we dive deeper into today's subject. And one piece of current news that kind of just just stuck out to me was that MSNBC, which is, to those of you who don't know, MSNBC is one of the ultra-liberal networks in the United States, and media networks, and they have a highly successful morning show that is hosted by Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski, the daughter of the late Zbigniew Brzezinski, who, if you were into geopolitics, if you we're looking at who architected much of the 20th century geopolitics, then Zbigniew Brzezinski is one to look into. At any rate, so they polled their morning show, Morning Joe, today, apparently because they were afraid of what they were going to say live on the air, that's what an insider says. But it's an interesting thing that they pulled it from the air, especially since we are in the week of the Republican National Convention, which means that in Milwaukee this week, Trump will become the official candidate for the Republicans for the presidential race. He will announce his vice president, and there'll be a speech and all of that. So it's a big week in politics here in the United States. I always wanted to get this out of the way. The second thing, before we dive deeper into today's subject, is that what happens Saturday at Trump's rally, and there's of course a lot more that has emerged since, and a lot more that we're going to talk about. But here's what I can tell you after having been a researcher / journalist, if you will, for many years, and I've done this for many years, in some ways forensically, for certain subjects. You can, if you want a narrative, then you can get that very quickly. If you want a sensational story, you can get that very quickly. But if you want the truth, especially in a situation like this, where immediately a media storm and a social media storm was deployed, that's what I can tell you with certainty. There was a concerted effort from minute one to steer this and there were millions of bots and trolls deployed immediately. So that's what I could observe. But if you want a narrative, sure, we could spin a narrative up quickly, but you will not get the truth conclusively 2-3 days into this. It isn't possible. We can get certain things, we can see certain things, we can affirm certain things, but we can't get the true story in a few days. It is impossible, literally impossible, because of how these things are being handled, and because how the information is being distributed to the public, how much uh, on purpose the public is being lied to, withheld. So this is gonna take time, right? And that's what serious as a serious researcher, that's what needs to happen. There needs to be time for this. So tomorrow's going to be a first step with the show at 11:30 with retired Air Force General Blaine Holt, who's going to give us some inside looks, and of course his assessment as a professional, as a high-ranking professional in the military. Okay, we have a historic opportunity, such because this is not a one-off event, but this is it is bringing on a new era. That is clear. So much is clear. The page has turned on Saturday, and I know people don't quite know why I'm saying this, but this is a monumental scale event in the mass perception of people, what is happening emotionally, what is happening in the reactions of people. And this is an historic opportunity because everybody, or not everybody, but most everybody was in their feels and in their emotions over the last few days, whichever way they sided. And this is exactly the key point. It gives us an opportunity because something has happened that is emotionalizing the world either way. Um, those who are even more in love with the Trump savior figure, or those who are unbelievably openly, like I just saw Jack Black, the actor slash musician, who at a concert said, "If I can make a wish next time, don't miss Trump." So there's that. There's those moronic idiots, psychopaths like that. But we have the unique opportunity through this intense time to study ourselves. And here's what we need to understand: we are dealing with a formidable enemy, and they have studied humans and human behavior, human perception for eons. That's what they do. They study every little studyable piece of us, and they create and curate the reality around us in order to manipulate us. We don't know 10% as much about ourselves as they do in terms of our behavior, psychology, and whatnot. The 20th century and the 21st century, the first quarter, we're almost done with the first quarter of the century, by the way, um, was designed in a way that it created a million tiny little boxes and labels and belief systems for people to attach themselves to more than ever before. If you think about it, almost everybody within this matrix world has so many attachments to, and let's just stick with simple ones, right? What is their belief system in terms of religion? What is their affiliation politically? Are they liberal or conservative, or are they far this, far that? What sports team do they cheer for? What colors do they wear? What university they go to? What car brand are they attached to? What TV network? What music genre? There's a million little boxes that people live in, and as soon as they start living in a box, very soon that box becomes clearly defined, and everyone who's in it is a friend, and everyone who's not in it doesn't belong. So we live in this box, and they live in that box, and eventually those boxes start fighting with each other over which box is better. And we need to understand that these boxes are imaginary things in our minds that are nothing but belief systems. They're not true. They're not real. They're not something that just somehow was born in nature. Those are all artificial boxes. And an event like this, let's call it an assassination attempt for the time being, an event like this brings out exactly what boxes people live in because it's emotional, because it's in some ways traumatizing to people. And when something that is emotional and maybe even traumatizing happens, people react from their subconscious belief systems. They react exactly in the way that they were programmed to react, because nothing goes through the analytical system, the hippocampus and other areas of the brain that actually analyzes things and then comes to certain conclusions. This is how most people live, and that's how they make their choices, in a reactionary emotional mode. And in that, they say, well, hell, I've been a Trump fan, or I've been a Biden supporter, or I've been a Republican all my life. My family, they were always conservatives. We're Christian conservatives, Christian and nationalists, whatever the box is. Or we are liberal globalists, or we are non-political, whatever the box is. Not there's few people in the world that live outside of boxes. They exist. They exist. There are people who live outside of those boxes. It doesn't mean that they don't look into boxes, so that they can't talk to people that live in boxes, but they inherently don't subscribe to the idea that I am a whatever. I am a Republican. I'm an Oilers fan, or I'm a Braves fan, or I'm a this. They don't define themselves through these boxes, but they realize, either consciously or on a more subconscious level, that they are ultimately eternal beings having a human experience. And as long as people live in these perceptional boxes, they can only see the truth as it fits into that box. So they might see part of the truth because part of the truth does fit in that box, but whatever doesn't fit, they don't want to see. What doesn't fit their narrative. And if you want to examine the truth, you can't look at it from inside of a box. Just from a visual standpoint, you only see what fits in there. That's all you can see. And so if you look at an event like Saturday, and you let your belief systems and perceptions drive how you perceive what has transpired, you can't be a researcher or a truth seeker, because you're gonna say what your belief system puts out, what you have programmed yourself or others have programmed you to believe or think about such a situation. And so very quickly it comes out. And this, by the way, applies to the conspiratorial open-minded as well. There's a carefully crafted narrative, and that narrative wasn't crafted by true researchers, but it was crafted by the opposition. So counter-information circles that are within government and intelligence agencies that infiltrate every movement, because they know if a movement cannot be stopped because humans are too curious, they want to know too much, then it has to be infiltrated. So then there's a narrative that every single thing is fake that you ever see, that nothing ever uh, is real in the way that it unfolds, and this is just an automatic lens. But within this matrix, real human experiences happen, real human reactions happen, real human tragedies happen. That is all a possibility within this matrix. Not every little thing is scripted out, and especially how humans react is not always scripted out. So to say by default, this we know exactly what this is just as naive and childish as to say, oh, we just believe everything we're being told. None of it is truth. It's just a belief. One is, oh, I believe what the government and the media and the authorities tell me. So that's one belief. It's a belief. And the other belief is, uh, they always lie. They never tell us anything that's true. And whatever we see, it's all fake. That's a belief too, because that isn't true either. It's more nuanced than that. Both are equally controlled. Both seek to bypass critical thinking, bypass analysis, bypass intuition, and take over what people think. That's all that it does. See, the path to controlling what people think doesn't matter to these people. It doesn't matter to them. It's all the same as long as they get to their goal. And so within the alternative media or truth and freedom community, there are belief systems just like everywhere else. More open minded, yeah. More questioning, yeah. But there is within our society, there is this drive in people that they want to belong. And this is normal. We all want to belong. I mean, that's what children exemplify so clearly when, when they are close to being taken away from their abusive families. They often cling to those families. They cling to their abusive parents, even if they do horrible things, because they want to belong. We're social beings, so we want to belong. And when we find others that might think similarly, or feel similarly, or see the world similarly, we feel good about that. We feel like we've found our tribe and we belong, and that inherently is not a wrong thing. But as soon as you start confining that by putting boxes around it, by defining it, giving it all kinds of names and rules and whatnot, you're boxing in free flow of thought, free flow of intuition, free flow of analysis. And that never, ever, 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 ever is a good thing. And it never, ever, ever leads to the truth. And that's why people have asked us so often, why don't you organize better? Why don't all you truth seekers and speakers bond together and build an organization and bring everybody in? Because this is what always happens. This is what big organizations, what always happens to them. They either get fought like crazy or they get infiltrated. And you go to you find the weakest link. It's not so hard to do. You find someone who's either lonely or who's traumatized, and then you slowly steer them away from true north. And so our intention is to use these historic times to see that this is what happens, to finally start seeing the boxes. Like, you'll see, let's take the LGBTQ and all the other letters plus quote unquote community. We know plenty of people, and some intimately, that used to be a part of this community. And they were programmed into all the beliefs and all the narratives and policies of this community because somebody is steering what this community as a community speaks of, what they're against, what they fight, what they affirm, what they promote, right? There is a very clear agenda there. And the thing is, once you are in it, they know how to pull you deeper and deeper so you really fit the mold. And the people that have come out of it, they said it's just like everything else. It's like a cult. It's like a cult that programs you to believe certain narratives, to have certain political beliefs, to have certain spiritual or non spiritual beliefs. And when they come out of it and say, well, I didn't understand why my entire personality was so focused on this. But now that I'm outside of this box, I can see it so clearly. Then what often happens is they find another box that's a little bigger and a little more open, and then they jump right into that box. But who benefits from us living in boxes, fighting each other? Think about it. Look at any standard neighborhood. I don't care where, but let's just look at an American neighborhood. Yard signs and flags tell us where people stand, what university, football team they root for. They tell us what political party they associate with. Then there is the love is love and the rainbow. And so then we know they're in this box. So, and then you look at bumper stickers and car stickers, right? Some people stick all their beliefs on the back of their car. You just go and say, okay, so within 30 seconds of reading your stickers, I pretty much know what boxes you subscribe to. So, who benefits when people associate and attach themselves to ever smaller identity boxes that aren't real? They're artificial constructs. Let's make this clear. These boxes are not real. Military soccer mom is not a real box. It's not something that occurs in nature. It means that we now know that the mother, that there's a mother, the mother is has children that play soccer, and most likely either a husband or a child that is in the military. That's what military soccer mom is, but that is a box, right? And that box becomes defined. There's a club, and there's oftentimes a flag, and there's a Facebook group, and all these things. And when people live in such boxes for years, they internalize them. And there's this old visual, you can take the fish out of the aquarium, but you can't take the aquarium out of the fish. It's when they were born, multiple generations that were born in an aquarium, you can't take that out of them. It's programmed into them. It's hardwired. And we have this unique opportunity to question all our hardwiring, to question all our boxes. Am I really am I all the things that I have put on my status in my Instagram, or am I all the things that I tell others I am? I'm a mechanic, I'm a doctor, I'm a athlete, I'm a Republican, I'm a libertarian. Who benefits? So you have certain views, you have certain values. Can't these values, truth, authenticity, kindness, can't these values exist outside of a predefined box? Do they have to be organized? Do they have to be boxed in, and do we have to stick a flag on it and put a plaque on it and have a website for it? Really? Do we really? And can we look at the events that are unfolding in front of us as spiritual beings having a human experience, and how would we react? How would we be different? Listen, we talk about putting on or having this little neighborhood get together to get to know the people that are in the proximity, to get to know them a little better. And what it's going to take is for our perceptions to put them to the side and talk to people, not judge their car stickers, not judge their yard signs, but get to meet people. And here's what happens pretty much every single time, not always, because some people are so hopelessly programmed that they can't see past my hat or past my boots or whatever. But for most, it's like, okay, so do you want clean water, clean air, clean food? Do you want peace? Most people do want that. And you go, do you want your children to live in a peaceful, in a good and positive environment? Yes, they want that. So see, these are already 5 or 6 major things that we agree on. These are major things. Like this defines life. And it doesn't matter if the air is Republican clean or Democrat clean or not political clean. Clean air is clean air. So our historic chance now, historic opportunity is to remove the boxes from our minds. And if you think of a visual, just imagine there's this vastness outside of you, this world outside of you, and all these millions of little boxes, and you walk right through them and around them, and you wave at everybody, and you go, come on, join me here. Here, this is freedom. Here we can think freely. It doesn't stop here. There is no limitation to how and what we can think and what we can learn and what we can explore. We're not limited by these previous definitions, right? The history box. That's one that more and more people jump out of. Their programmed perception of what history was, how it unfolded, and how exploring and getting to know more and more leads us to new questions. We don't get real conclusions, we get new questions. Is okay, this and this can't be true at the same time. who benefits from keeping narratives going. Because in the following days, weeks, and months, we're going to see once again an incredible ramp up in rhetoric, and they can't help themselves. 90% of the people, or 80%, whatever the percentage is, they will continue to do everything they can to convince you that their box is the right one. And I want to see as many people as possible roaming the fields, exploring, learning, getting inspired by what else there is to know and find. Listen, we know so little. We know so little. And if we can embrace the uncertainty of that, if we can embrace that it is okay that we don't know certain things for certain, but that we can keep a childlike interest and curiosity and excitement about learning and excitement about expanding. Yesterday, my son Noah, who's a soccer fan, he asked me to watch the Copa Americana, which is the American soccer, so that's America South America championship, and so we watched the finals, which was Argentina versus Colombia, and so the entire stadium, I believe it was in Miami, the entire stadium was pretty much divided into blue and white for Argentina and yellow and red jerseys for Colombia. And this used to be, I remember those fan sections used to be divided more and more. There was very much space in between them. Fans were very aggressive and oftentimes. And so yesterday I saw something beautiful. I saw families and couples in different jerseys. I saw these sections being more mixed together. And after a while, because it was really hot, a lot of people, more men than women, I'll be honest, were taking off the jersey. So you couldn't tell anymore. And I was just watching this and said, yeah, this is exactly how it goes. You eventually realize that we are all connected, that the jersey doesn't really separate us. It's all a box in our minds. But guess what? Some people are willing to fight and become violent over the colors of their jerseys and who's better and who's worse. Imagine how deeply humans can be programmed, and how this necessity for us to belong has been hijacked and has been taken advantage of. And we must rise above it on the 40,000 view and realize that most of us want pretty much the same things. And these things are neither Democrat, nor are they communist, nor are they Republican, nor there are certain values that we all must uphold. So if we are to rebirth a new system, which we are, the old one is dying, and if we are to rebirth it, it must be based on those values, and those values, the protection of those values must be the center focal point of this, right? So the right to be and express yourself freely, take care of yourself and your family without harming anyone else, of course. Those things must become the centerpiece of our societies again. We don't need a million laws and regulations that box us in. We just simply don't need them. They don't serve us. We need to have some fundamental, agreed upon values that a very limited management system is created around, because that's all that we really need. A very, very limited management system that protects and takes care of a few things. As a society, we don't need much more. And I really wish, as I walk, sometimes Christina and I take long walks, and that take us, through town and then some neighborhoods. And I wish that maybe for a few days people could just walk around blindfolded. and shake hands and try to connect with each other beyond what they see and immediately interpret. And we are all prone to that. We're all humans. We all judge immediately. And then maybe we ground ourselves and go, okay, let me get to know this person before I put a stamp on them. And I wish that we could see it through these times, because the loudest noise, the loudest voices out there, that's what they don't want us to do. They want us to keep fighting each other. Oh, you damn liberal. Oh, you freaking Christian nationalist. Oh, you freaking conservative. That's all that they want, for us to fight. So let's break it down to the simplest things. Imagine, write down a list of your top 10 or top 5 priorities and needs in life. I can bet with you that most people will have very similar things. So, in order for people to be able to lose those boxes, you have to realize that you're in them. And for that, you can write out, there's a good question, a good exercise. Who am I? Christine loves to use this exercise in one-on-one sessions. It goes very deep, but you ask yourself, who am I? And you honestly write out everything that comes up. Everything. Don't judge it, write it out. I am a therapist. I am a dog sitter. I am whatever comes up. I am a healer. I am an intuitive. I'm an empath. You keep asking yourself, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Until everything is written out. And then you can watch where it leads you. Here's the thing. You're none of these labels. 100 years from now, none of this will matter. There's something underneath all the labels that will matter forever. Those labels will not matter in 100 years whatsoever. They will be meaningless. They won't even be a memory to anyone anymore, because you'll be long gone, and the memory of you will be long gone in this realm. There's something deep below all these attachments, identifications, and labels that is eternal. And that part needs to come to the forefront. That part needs to be the leading part in all that we do. That's an exercise we can do every single day. It's hard because they have done a very, very good job at dividing us. They've done a very good job. And frankly, there are situations where that is impossible, because people become so violent in justifying or defending their beliefs and boxes that all you can do is defend yourself. I'm not arguing against that. You know, you're not going to come at me. Like, you do that and you get what you deserve. But beyond that, everyday interactions, life is different. And usually there's a great opportunity. That's all I can put out there. That's all that we can continually inspire. And by the way, this part that's deeply buried, it's the biggest part of you. It's the most connected, grandest part. Everything else is just there to distract you. Does that mean you can't watch a soccer game or you can't watch a hockey game and enjoy it? No, sure. Sure, you can root for your team. Sure, you can enjoy that. But at the same time, that's not who you are. You're just having an experience. 90 minutes, 2 hours, whatever, and then you move on. You're not that. And sure, you can enjoy your profession or what you do and maybe being of service to others, but that's not who you are. That's something that you do. It might be a part of your experience. But think about it this way. If you are what you do and you are what you have, then if you don't do and if you don't have, what remains? Are you nothing then? If you don't do what you do, if you're not what you do and if you're not what you have, then that would mean you're nothing without it. And that's simply not true. That's simply not true. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for everyone who joined us on Locals, by the way. This is the Inspired community on Locals. It's a free speech, uncensored platform that we joined a few years ago when censorship was at its height, when it was craziest on all the other platforms. And they allowed us to build a beautiful community there. And more people are joining us over there, which is wonderful. By the way, one of the beautiful side effects is we don't get the social media trolls like we've seen over the last few days. I have never, and since 2020, I have never seen the unleashing of such vast numbers of bots and trolls like in the last days that were trying to drive a specific narrative. We don't have that on Locals. It's really a beautiful community. Christine and I do shows there together. It's the only place where we do those shows. I do Coffee and Truth shows there, which go deeper and are more intimate and also more expanded because we can talk about everything. And mostly the community is beautiful because people communicate with each other, they exchange phone numbers, and it's a beautiful space. Exploration, expansion, freedom, truth, authenticity. So if you want to join us there, the link's in the description, inspired.locals.com. The new slogan is 19 cents a day, keep the trolls away. That's how much it costs. If you do the yearly subscription, it's 19 cents a day. So we kept it as low as possible. That's how the platform works. And we'd love to see you there, my friends. Much love, many blessings, and join us tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Central, right here, and we'll bring on retired Brigadier General Blaine Holt, and we're going to break down the Saturday Pennsylvania event with Trump. All right, have a blessed day, y'all.
Are you looking for like-minded and like-hearted people to connect with? Then the Inspired community on Locals is the right place for you. You can post, comment, share, and connect with others, and our shows there are completely uncensored and unfiltered. It's stuff we can't talk about here. It's such a great community, and there are zero trolls. We keep the subscription fees super low, so 19 cents per day. Keep the trolls away. Join us today at inspired.locals.com. We can't wait to see you there.